And now finally we get to my main shooter, my main camera that I use for filming, and it's the Sony A7S III. I invested in this camera for many reasons. I don't use its full potential, but it does stuff that I like a lot, and it's not a new camera, so newer cameras, especially from Sony, might be better with a lot of things, but I bought it 1.5 years ago, and back then this was still, even though it was already old then, the best for what I need it to do for still a reasonable price. And no, because it can also not be a gigantic camera. It has its pros and its cons. The pros are very important to me. There's a few pros that I don't care about, but overall it's just amazing. Important, it only has 12 megapixels, and you say, what? It's nothing, everything else has more megapixels, but this is the perfect proof that megapixels is not something that's so important, because it still has full frame camera and amazing picture quality. It has amazing low light performance, so when you film in the dark, this camera is just amazing, and it's no problem at all. So I never have to, oh, it's dark, what do I do now? No, I don't care. It's just fine. There is no noise. It's even though it has a dual ISO, so it means I think up to 10,520 ISO, and then it switches. It doesn't matter. Even then, before it switches, it still looks good. It can do 120 frames per second in 4K, and I used it twice. Doesn't overheat because of the 12 megapixel, and when you move around you don't get this weird things. I just can't remember the name of it. It still looks good if you move around, because it can read out the sensor very fast because it's only 12 megapixel. That's just amazing. The processor doesn't have to do anything. So these are the pros for me that I need it for, and it does it really well. For me, what I need is the HDMI output, full HDMI that I use for my live streaming at home. I hate the small ones that are so, ooh, I'm gonna break something. It works perfectly. Yeah, I think that's it. What's great about this camera. I have a few negatives with this camera. Number one is the autofocus, and I'm not a professional videographer, and I haven't tested millions of other cameras. I don't know if this is normal or just specific to this, but in autofocus, so when I'm moving around, I'm filming something, I'm moving from here to here, autofocus is perfect. So if I film inside the car, I have this camera set to aperture mode, so it leaves the 1/50 shutter speed because I film in 24 frames per second. Now with the newest firmware I could even put it to 1/48, but I don't do it, it's fine. And then the ISO is in auto, and the shutter speed will be adjusted according to the brightness. And then it's always perfect bright, so when I film something inside the car, it's dark, it brightens it up so I can see it, and if I go outside and there's the sun, it will darken. It works perfectly. An autofocus as well. But when I put this on a tripod and I film me and I'm just there, I mean, it totally makes sense when I film something, like say here, and then I put my hand in front of it. Of course, the autofocus thinks I should focus on the hand. That's okay. I have learned that, and then I use manual focus, it's fine. But when I have it, I don't know, like this camera now, a meter away, and I'm filming something, and then I look away, the autofocus focuses on something else. I look back, it sees my eyes, it focuses on me again. And that's annoying. That's why when I film on a tripod like now, I put the focus method on manual, and I focus with my remote controller. Focus on me, and then I leave it. That's a bit annoying. The other thing is I don't know if it's the aperture mode or the ISO in auto. One of those two, when you have it again on a tripod stationary, you film one thing, you're not moving around, sometimes it can happen that it's light dark, light dark, light dark, light dark the whole time, a tiny bit. So when I film again stationary like now, I would put it in full manual mode, put the aperture, the setting that I need in the ISO, and nothing can change. And even so, everything is in manual focus in everything, so it doesn't change. That's usually then also okay, But sometimes when it's sunny and then a cloud comes over the sun and it gets dark and then the cloud is gone, then of course it gets darker too. The camera doesn't change the exposure, which is bad. And I will try at some point to see if I can be in aperture mode and leave the ISO at a fixed level, and then the other way around, and see what is causing this lighter darker thing, because it happened a few times and therefore I can't use it. The other problem is that it's heavy. This camera here that is very light. This is heavy, especially with my other lens that I need for filming inside the car. I have 3 lenses for this camera. This is the Samyang 24mm autofocus 1.8. This is amazing for have blurry background. I use it all the time. I also have 2 different ND filters, so I can use it at 1.8. I have a variable ND filter, but when it's really bright, this is still too dark, because if the variable ND filter, if you go to very high ND, you can see the vignetting and it doesn't look good. That's why I have 1000 ND 1000 here, and again it is too dark for most things, so even when it's very sunny, ND 1000 might be too dark, but I can put the ISO up here to over 1000. It still looks great, so I don't have a problem with that. So this is everything where the camera is stationary. I film with this because it's amazing. Because I have noticed with this lens that I'm using inside the car, it's a 16-35, so I can film myself, and I'm not too close, and I can film inside the car, and you can still see things without me being too far away. And 35, I can zoom in a bit if I have to. This is perfect for that, inside the car and filming me. Again, this is not good stationary, especially with autofocus, because you get that focus breathing, and I hate that. This is, I don't know, the middle is all fine, and you see then in the corners where it zooms in and zooms out a tiny bit, where it's not zooming, it's just the focus, and I don't like that. That again, I have to use manual focus if this is on a tripod and I use it. Not a fan. Other than that, this is really good. It doesn't have this has optical stabilization in it, but it's not very strong. The camera has optical stabilization and also active mode, where it zooms in a tiny bit. It's okay, but not amazing. I have gyro flow, which can do even more stabilization if I need that, and it looks okay. But overall, I have noticed, if I film myself, if I'm showing a car, if I want inside the car, it's fine when I'm driving something like this. But when I try to show a car or make nice shots, I use my gimbal. I already made a video about that, and it's heavy. The gimbal with the camera, that's really 5 kilograms or so that you have in your hand. That's heavy. For if I film a car outside, I have the 2 grips on the side, and it's fine. If I film myself, I do it with one hand, but I don't film that long. That's the good thing. And sometimes I even have to do this, support my other arm, so it's not too much because it's too heavy. And my third lens is this one here. It's a 24-240. If I really have to zoom into something like a head-up display, if I want to see more, because with this it's not too much and not too far. Also Sony, and there's also a zoom function in the camera that you can use 1.4 zoom, where it doesn't do optical zoom, so you still get the full resolution. And I'm using that a lot if I like a head-up display, what I just said, while driving. If I'm stationary, I would use this. It's just easier, and it looks better. The other accessory that I have, what I just said, is the remote control. Perfect to do remote take pictures. You always see when I take pictures with a car, you always see this in my hand because it's a ding, ding, ding. I do it with a timer, but still I'm too lazy to and hide it away, make a picture, take it back out, take a picture, because who cares if I have the thing in my hand? And when I'm filming, I use this too. Start filming, do the focus on me, start filming, put it in. And amazing. One thing that annoys the crap out of me in this camera, and this one here has it. I see here I'm recording, I see the screen, which I can do here as well. But I see a light at the Sony camera that shows me it's recording. This doesn't do that. There is no light that would show me, hey, I'm recording in the front. And I hate this because sometimes I'm 3 meters away from the camera. I press record on the remote and is it recording? Did I hear the sound? And so I always have I would love to have the display here on the other side. So like this, so I can see it when I'm framing the shot, and then I have a monitor on top that I put on so I can see myself even when far away, because the monitor here is way too small. The other one is 7-inch. And then I can see the framing if I'm fine from far away, but it doesn't show that it's really recording. And I would love if there would be a light here in front somewhere that would just be on and tell me, hey, I'm recording right now. That's really annoying. I would love that. But again, overall, I'm very impressed with the camera. I love it. I love the picture quality. It looks amazing, and amazing in the dark, because I film a lot when it's a bit darker. When it comes to when the camera is here in the car and I film the interior plus outside, and then when the exterior is very bright, interior is dark, I can still see something. It's not noisy. And when sometimes I film at night in the dark inside the car where it's still not noisy, it looks amazing and I love it. Autofocus, like I said, could be better. I would love if it would do that better. My God, there's enough buttons on here to have all of my things adjusted. I have my focus here. I have my, I think, white balance, zoom for manual focus. If I want to zoom in and do the manual focus, it's way better to do that. Zoom in and then do it. That's awesome. That is amazing. And I have 3 dials for all. Oopsala. And I have 3 dials to adjust here my ISO, here my aperture, and here my shutter speed. So everything is here to adjust what I need. This is really, really awesome for picture taking. The picture quality is okay, it's not amazing. Again, 12 megapixels, so zooming in, this is where the downside of the 12 megapixel come in. If you take a picture and then you have to zoom in. So I cannot be extremely far away and say it's fine, I can zoom in later. No, I have to frame the shot with a bit of safety, but not too much, because I know I cannot zoom in like crazy. So if I take a picture of 2 cars and then afterwards I notice I just want my face, it's not possible. It's just it's not enough megapixels for photography, but for filming it's just amazing. Yeah, that's it. Bye.